indestructible. Never will the empire be able to erase its identity, its memory, its conscience will come as the time goes by and face all the tests they will be able to face. I had been saying, comrades, generals, almirants, present, those who are present here, those who are listening to me around the country, in the region of the integral defense, at the SODI, at the 29th integral zones of defense, at every community of militaries,
and the highest state and the General-in-Chief, Vice President, Secretarial Vice President for the Ministry of the Popular Power for the Defense, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, and General. So I congratulate all the staff of the Bolivarian Armed Forces. To general officials and commanders of the army, the aviation, the Bolivarian militias, the deputy ministers, and the university rector of the military, and the commander of the defense of the airspace defense, El Codide, and the president of the Marshal Court of the military sector, to all commanders present of the regions of the Andes, the western, the eastern, Guyana, and others. I was on these days working at the cultural casona, at the cultural house, which was the presidential house for many years, and today it is the cultural house, an open space for the cultural life of the country at the highest level. It is a beautiful place. I have shared this with the community, and this cultural house has official spaces in which I hold meetings. I welcome ambassadors and visitors from the world. Every day comes a visitor to bring their support, their backup, not only by words but in practice, beyond what I could say. And there I welcome ambassadors at the Miraflores Palace with the cultural house of the people, and I found a jewel there, a collection of the history of the Bolivarian Armed Forces of Venezuela in the 19th century. This is a facsimile, a copy of the original book, because the original book has been so this is the volume 3. It is called The Independence, and it was a wonderful work led by Dr. Juan J. Velasquez, and in which their historians, tenant colonels and colonels have been participating. The Colonel Gregorio Lopez Garcia, and tenant and Retired Tenant Alejandro Vargas, and historians and writers as Pedro Garcés and Manuel Pérez Vila. There you see, there you can understand the direct roots, the direct and pure roots of the greatest work of the battlefields in Venezuela. When you review the reports of war, the reports and the decrees of the liberators, their speeches and their journeys, for across Venezuela, you can say how great were our liberators, because this is a huge work. And so by reading these pages, I fully certified that our military doctrine of the 21st century, founded by Commander Chavez, from our military and practical military, that the concept of defense and the tactical method of the revolution and the creation of the strategic command of operations and the creation of networks and the capacities, the theoretical capacity and the strategic and practical strategies that the Bolivarian Armed Forces have are attached to the greatest legacy autonomous legacy of the Latin American and Caribbean thought of the liberators. I confirm that every day, every dawn, and when I open up this book, as I used to say that, I always say that books speak. And there I read the decrees of Simon Bolivar's liberator, creating the militias of the people in Peru. He gave accurate instructions, and he explained why he created the militias and why he was arming the people. And so he was creating the independent state of Peru for the independence of Peru. So I really enjoyed reviewing and confirming that our Commander Chavez did great things. And so as time passes by, undoubtedly we can say that we are on the right side of the history, that we continue on the right side of the history, because we are on the Bolívar's and Sucre's and Zamora's side and beyond. From the first Venezuelan Afro descendant, Caipuru, and so we are on the right side of the history, because we are on the side of ideas and the historical project of our Supreme Commander Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias. I proposed to the Minister of Padrino that very soon I want to install a commission of historians and the military historians, because we have extraordinary military historians. I want that you carry out a review of this history that was published in the 1960s, which took several years of investigation, and the military history is completed. It comprises the history of the 19th century, the 20th century, and so today we are writing the 21st century history, so we have to continue writing the history for the future. That's the most important thing. And the military history of Venezuela is the history of the struggles for independence, for dignity, is the history of the fight against colonialism, imperialism, because our military forces did not stem from the hands of the empire. Our military doctrine is no longer the national security doctrine of the U.S. imperialism, because our military forces do not stem from the oligarchies. They were born from the heat of mottos of our great General Zamora. We combat oligarchy. This is the land of free men, free women. By popular elections, our military forces have in their blood, in their genes, they are anti-oligarchy, anti-colonialism. They have in their genes that rebellious force, that rebellious strength, and that rebellious the strength of the people, of the Venezuelan people. So I congratulate in their anniversary the operational strategic commander and the strategic command. It was precisely 29 years ago, and today we are preparing for the 20th anniversary of the creation of the new structure. Commander Chavez, from the old writing of the Bolivarian Constitution, placed the military concepts for the foundation of our Bolivarian Armed Forces. Commander Chavez served as a military leader, a leader of the nation, commander-in-chief abided by Constitution, and so he was the great founder of the doctrines and the military forces of the country. Who was the founder of our military forces? Tell me a name. There is only one, the great refounder that brought from the original roots the thought to build a military power of the 21st century for Venezuela be respected. And so he is and continues to be our commander, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frio. And so we are on the path that he pointed out, full of love for life, full of love for homeland, full of love for the right of the future. That's the track we are following. That by the path of the absolute loyalty, which it is really beautiful, the motto of our army, loyals always, traitors never. So it is the path of the loyalty, of commitment, of clear, powerful doctrines. So the empire will have its military forces of a nation in decline, but humbly, I could say that Venezuela has a military power, and the Venezuelans, men and women, have military forces for defending the people, for defending our democracy, our right to peace. Recently, we have proven our capacity to respond, the capacity to respond by the military Venezuelan forces against serious attacks, serious threats outside, and so a quality that has to have a military leader. It has to be identified permanently the threats to security and peace of the country. Every military leader must be crystal clear in which place he stands and which place he will go. From the main leaders, military leaders and leaders of the highest state of the components of the military, the militias, till the military leaders of military facilities of components, till military leaders of the people in the militias. And so it is a fundamental issue, element that you must guarantee. Have a crystal clear vision of the present and established plans to guarantee at any cost the peace, coexistence, harmony, liberty, freedom, and the development of a society that has taken the path of growth and recovery for the prosperity of the country that we will see and we will be living and we are building. It is fundamental. It is really fundamental to have this clear vision in front of threats. I make a big effort daily before our people, as constitutional president, as head of state and government, and in front of the military forces, and as a commander and as a constitutional commander, I make a great effort to alert, to prepare the capacities of the society, of the people, of the state, to defend our sovereignty, our territorial integrity, and to guarantee peace at all costs, at any event. So I think that the efforts we have made on these years have been efforts measured by an important capacity of taking into account the reality. So there have been very landslide efforts. We have triumphed in all cases, and we have demonstrated our capacity to defend in a non-armed struggle and in an armed struggle the different scenarios of and the enjoyment of peace and abided by constitution. So this deserves, as you know, a high quality work in planning, and besides it is the result of a lot of moral. So a leader without a moral doesn't get far. It breaks down so we have said, who messes with us withers, because we are an spiritual force, indestructible, because we have a moral force, and we take the real truth, and so the one who messes with us, it withers. It doesn't go beyond. Some of the visitors from worldwide don't know how to explain, and there are some things that we know very well, because they don't know how to explain how we are able to face so many conspiracies and plots, how we are able to overcome in front of so many aggressions and threats. Lately, we have living through some of them. We can give an account, a complete account, and truly it would be amazing how much we have done, always in unity with civilians and the police. It is a fusion between the civilians and the police. Thus, the axis of the historical, popular, Samurista socialist bloc of the Venezuelan century. So this is the powerful axis, the unity between the civilians and the police, with a plan, with a strategic, with a vision of homeland, of nation, free and sovereign. So some people don't know how to explain, because the campaigns against Venezuela, the war against Venezuela in this scenario, in this military campaign, we could say the full war, the hybrid war, the multidimensional hybrid war against Venezuela, led by the United States of America and the U.S. imperialism power. It has as an element, a main element, the psychological war. Today it is a psychological war that is very powerful, because it counts on the social media. They don't only use hegemonic media outlets as AFP, CNN, or many others. They count on those agencies, on those social media, on those TV channels, TV and radio channels, and they count on all social media for their war against the world, not only against Venezuela. Against Venezuela, they waged a multidimensional hybrid war, but also outside, overseas, they impose a narrative in virtual reality. Many people know that behind that narrative there's a truth. That's why we have the great support of the humanity, of the peoples of the world, and the vast majority, as it's been demonstrated at the United Nations General Assembly. Peoples and governments, because they go beyond those manipulative narratives. The psychological war affects in a direct way and in an indirect way. Many people who come to talk, I have to explain them details that the media outlets don't disseminate, because they come here affected by the psychological war. Many of the ones who sit in front of me in private meetings, they are affected indirectly. They have faith in Venezuela, they love Venezuela, they support us. But so many repetitions by the far-right media outlets in 1,000 of ways, with influencers, singers, and then they repeat over and over. And so that someone who supports us ends repeating the narrative of the enemies of Venezuela and the U.S. journalism. And when I explain to them, they get amused, shocked. I tell them the attack we suffered, the people of Venezuela, the Bolivarian Armed Forces, on the from July 29 to 31st, because the violence of the commanditos of the criminal groups who went out to burn down, to kill on Monday, from Monday to Wednesday, it was an expression of the tightening of the psychological war that lasted during the whole electoral campaign, and it was tightened on Saturday, July 29, and on July 30. There were all kinds of psychological war. They use mechanism as WhatsApp. You know it. WhatsApp delivered them an espionage work that surely you have already studied. The espionage work that made by WhatsApp, we have to study that. They made an espionage among the people of Venezuela, and I could say that thousands, millions of heads and popular leaders of communities, of communes, of strips, of organizations, of military. They received personal messages at WhatsApp, getting threats, getting live threats of their families with specific details of their addresses and of their places of work. So the same thousands of military of Venezuela received these personal messages, these life-threatening messages. They were threatening their wives, sons, and daughters, and so this is we can call this as a psychological terrorism. And so when these comanditos groups went out to burn down educational facilities and health facilities, and they turned down monuments of Commander Hugo Chavez. They attacked military barracks at those days. They burned down transportation facility centers, and so they went out to kill and torture people. 27 killed by the Comanditos criminal groups, and this is not said by those media outlets. So they are trying to turn the victims into the criminals. So most of the criminals are confessed and convicted, and so the world upside down is the target of the psychological war to confuse and to demoralize Venezuela. It is a psychological war full of psychological and terrorist attacks, and then the physical attack too. They intended to leave Venezuela with power outages. So the war against Venezuela continues. We have been suffering electrical attacks, which have been overcome by the heroical work of the Venezuelans. So who's behind the attack against the power grid of Venezuela? The same that were behind the attacks on July 29th to 31st. They intended to wage a civilian war. We have to remember Andes and the head of Táchira and the governor Freddy. We have to recall that thanks to the popular intelligence and the patrolling, the military patrolling, we captured some individuals sent by Colombia who intended to go off the substation of going off an electoral substation to lead the country into a blackout, which would be difficult to recover on due time as we have made it so far. So the attempt of getting the country without electricity on the elections day. And you know very well the features of the cyber attack that received the electronic system of the National Electoral Council. 10 million attacks per minute, which was being held on time, and thanks to the technical capacity of Venezuelans, they achieved they counter these attacks, and so they wanted to leave us without electricity and without electoral results, and the world is silent about this because with the objective of leading us to an electoral blackout. And on Monday, July 29th, at dawn, there were the 1,000 Comanditos criminal groups burning down the country, and they said that there was a popular insurgency in Venezuela, civilian war and fraudulent Maduro. A thought of plan prepared by fascism, by the national fascism, and by the U.S. imperialism and international fascism. So we have been tested, and we triumphed over this, and so it has been demonstrated that the people of Venezuela, the armed forces and the police, have a great capacity of reaction and control, so to control and to reach peace, because in less than 48 hours Venezuela reached peace and order was established, and so it was a gift to our people, and we have to guarantee that forever. These the established plans were established. The plans were established, and so I always said to my partners, when we go to an electoral campaign, we get ready, which is the music, which is the symbol, which is the message, which is the beat, which is the program that we are going to propose. And we dedicate to the campaign, to the joy, to the dancing, to the proposals, to debate, to encourage ideas, to listen to the people. But the far-right wing and the imperialism, when there are electoral campaigns, they don't get ready for a campaign. They didn't make a campaign. They didn't present any program here in Venezuela. They even didn't have a real candidate. They get ready for a war, for using the electoral campaign to collect and organize new forces against the state, against the peace, against the independence and sovereignty of Venezuela. We have to be clear about the panorama. I make an effort, and you make an effort, and I have to say today, at the anniversary of the 19th anniversary of the Operational Strategic Command, and Venezuela is at peace, stability, normality, and I have to thank you, I have to congratulate you on behalf of the people, and to expand, because Venezuela is at peace thanks to our effort. Abided by Constitution, respecting the political and civilian rights of Venezuelans in an exemplary way. And that's what amazes the world. So then we face that national outages, blackout, that they intended to destroy the main hydroelectricity system. And so all these criminals that led this attack are in prison with the evidence, with testimonies. It is unbelievable that Venezuelan people could be able, for political or ideological reasons, to attack their own electrical system of their country. So I wonder where this happened. This happens, and because there are ideological differences in all the countries worldwide, but who comes up with the idea of attacking its own power grid, which is fundamental for the life of a country? And they are there, convicted and confessed. Unfortunately, we didn't catch him earlier, but it was a group financed by the far-right fascist wing led by Maria Corina Machado and the coward Edmundo González Urrutia, who fled from the country. Pay attention that on Monday at dawn, this Mr. González Urrutia hid at the Netherlands embassy. So he knew what was going to happen. And then when he abandoned his own people, when he ran, so he knew that serious things were at Madrid, but they didn't count on that our intelligence was going to achieve to arrest the big majority of mercenaries entering the country who has been already detained, and they were planning to make assassination attempts against vice president, ministers Diosdado, and so they were planning to attack the oil companies and power plants, and so these criminals have been arrested and are at the hands of the Venezuelan justice, and there are lots of evidence related to the CIA and Spanish participation on these attacks, and so they showed, authorities have showed so far 10% of these criminals that have entered in Venezuela, thanks to the vigilance of our Bolivarian armed forces, of our police forces, and of our beloved people. I make a call to our Venezuelan people here in Venezuela. I make a call to our kind people of Venezuela, in Colombia, in the United States of America, in Spain and beyond, that continue to be alert, because thanks to you, we have managed to capture a vast majority of terrorists worldwide who came here to attack the country, and that's why Mr. González Urrutia fled the country. I could not say more. Just that in this special meeting with the leaders of the military in this beautiful day at the 19th anniversary, I am compelled to inform you the details about the investigation on these attacks, and we are getting ready to enjoy the freedoms that Venezuela has. The electoral campaign was without a single incident. In other countries, in other neighboring countries, as in Colombia, in the electoral campaigns, there are dozens of presidential candidates assassinated, and we are helping President Petro to achieve peace in Colombia, in other countries too. But in Venezuela, there wasn't even a slap to a candidate, and it is always like this in all kinds of elections in Venezuela. For the municipality communities, for the as for instance in the consultation for the Guyana Sequiba, these are exemplary campaigns in full enjoyment of the civilian rights, and so the military always guarantees stability and peace. And peace. That must be the greatest source of inspiration, the right of peace, the right of existence, the right of the future of our beloved people. So, at a good time, our commander Hugo Chavez, 19 years ago, he took a great step by founding the Operational Strategic Command, and then in 2010 he took the step of creating the regional military forces which make us indestructible, undefeatable, and the empire knows it. They know it. And so the creation of the areas of comprehensive defense to articulate a single armed force, the Bolivarian Armed Forces with a single power, the National Bolivarian Armed Forces. Bolivar is at the front and guarantee the capacity, as fortunately it's being guaranteed with a great effort, and Diosdado Cabello commented it on these days, who have seen who has seen generals in the battlefield with a rifle, facing groups generators of violence, as the Tren del Llano criminal groups, who are remarkable in notoriety. It is remarkable known because they made it known by who has seen the general, and today we can be proud of our armed forces from all generations, and so we have to be proud of all our leaders of the military who are in the field defending our people, the right of peace, and combating. General-in-Chief Hernandez Lares explained to me this deployment process. Today we are not making a special parade for the anniversary or a special deployment, but the Bolivarian Armed Forces are deploy every day, and as a reason for the anniversary we have been 10 exercises in combat to guarantee peace in the whole country. So, Commander-in-Chief, I am very proud to have you here on this 19th anniversary, in which it has been guided by your lines and the homeland plans, the historical targets, our constitution, our laws, to assure and structure, and supported by the Bolivarian doctrine in our studies. We have supported in these strategic lines. The first one is the function of the unity of the civilians and the police. For elections, by the way, you gave the order that the whole personnel have to participate, because so our first strategic line is the unity between the police and the civilians. So the all directorate, so there's the municipal, statal, and parish powers. We have the military and the active and the. So this is stipulated in the Article 332 of our national constitution, and so being aware of the Article 332 and 328, these Bolivarian forces, alongside the state powers that to provide peace to the population. So these Bolivarian forces and the security forces are professional. They are not longer improvised. This is a different Bolivarian forces, and some people consider themselves self-exiled, but maybe they judge on their condition of their self-exiles that they were improvised, not like us today. And so we have the integration of the public powers with the security state powers. We have the duty, and we so number 3, the maximum use of the reaction units as you have ordered, the maximum patrolling nationwide all the time. And one of the things I want to propose, these neoliberals want to propose, is that the army would come back to the barracks, but we are part of the Venezuelans, and with this fusion with the unity of the civic forces and the military forces, and so we stand by to defend the homeland because we are Bolivarian revolutionaries. And so the 4th line would be the establishment of components to make surveillance of our country, and so they are well united in our territory. These Bolivarian armed forces, under the lines of General Padrino Lopez, under his supervision, we have provided different results with this deployment of the Bolivarian Shield in the independence plans. So I want to explain here. So these are the orders that you already gave us. These are the strategic operations that we have ahead of any kind of invasion or attempt by any foreign country. The Bolivarian Armed Forces has 2 ways of protecting the homeland, in the internal order and the external order. So we call it the Bolivarian Shield of the whole homeland, in which we have conducted 132 operational deployments, tactical deployments, patrolling, in compliance with the state politics and strategies. So we have been deployed in the 24 states, and at this moment we are on a military exercise in which we have 6 specific tasks, in which we must fulfill 6 positions, and we name it bronze, Mercury, copper, and so on. And so let's recall that the armed forces, the mission of the armed forces is to assure the safety of the republic, to contribute and to preserve the internal order of the homeland. So it is the participation of the Bolivarian armed forces in any situation. So we participate in any incident in the country according to the 328 article, and so we are united in the world, that in this battle of the whole people. So criminal groups, when criminal groups enter our territory and took the gold and destroyed our nature, they claim to be Venezuelans, but so we are preserving our national territory. We disseminate our national identity, and that's why we are dressing today as militia, as military. And so I congratulate the leader of the Bolivarian Armed Forces of Authority of Operations. And so for today, in all states, this operation is being conducted. The Bolivarian Shield, that is part of our independence plan, across the whole territory, there's an operation. There you see governors and leading organs has been activated, and the Bolivarian militias, and so the different military units, every day this allows us to guarantee security to the nation under the ideals of the liberator Simón Bolívar. So we will have some rehearsals, some communal rehearsals in each state. All state has its center of power in all levels. So we have strategic structures as refineries, bridges, and this the bordering. And so here is the people in uniforms. So here we have an operation which are examples of a possible enemy incursion through the different boarding areas that we have. There's a rehearsal in Táchira state, in Trujillo. These are the visible actions of our National Bolivarian Armed Forces, but also it is the capacity, the invisible capacity for us to protect each area of Venezuela. And those combined capacities of the visible forces with the invisible forces, which are both powerful, we are defeating terrorism. There, put it there in your course of action to reinforce the anti-terrorist plans, because the United States is seeing us with the CIA and Spain with the CNI, and so we have to strengthen the capture of any enemy and to capture the intention of sabotages. So let's go to Táchira as part of the exercise that is being fulfilling from several days. Precisely, this is the strategic operation named Copper. There in the alternate command in the bordering area of Ureña. There we have the report, Governor, Military Freddy Bernal, accompanied by Major General Gregorio, of the glorious people of Táchira, my people, my blood, my family. There the Brigadier General Socorro, commander of number 21 command, and there a leader of the region, and the prosecutor of the Attorney General of the Prosecutor's Office, and there, go ahead, Ureña. Good morning, President. General-in-Chief Congratulations on this anniversary of the Strategic Command, and along with the whole Bolivarian forces. Well, as you said, President, here we are in this post as the Bolivarian Armed Forces are integrated to the security entities, the prosecutor's office, the firefighters station. As you said, President, we have to assume there is a series of manuals being implemented in which the armed action is and the non-armed action is, and so this is the non-armed actions is led by the civilian sector, and the non-armed actions are all non-military actions to preserve tranquility in the country, in the state. And we are executing 5 fundamental tasks. The first, the Patriotic Committee, the Bolivarian Patriotic Committee. The first thing is to raise awareness of our people. How? By speaking to people, with all leaders, for us to understand the multi-sectorial war, especially through social media, so that's why we have designed the digital community, a whole army in municipalities to raise awareness of the digital attack and the due answer. So while it's being developed, the armed actions by the Bolivarian Armed Forces, it is necessary logistics, the maintenance of services, and productivity. In that sense, in the latest years, with a significant effort, we are the first producer in cheese of the country, the third producer of meat, and the 40% of vegetables of Venezuela came from here. So Táchira is very productive for the Bolivarian forces enter into combat and defend us from any aggression. And so in order to maintain peace while Bolivarian forces combat and defend us from any aggression, the cultural and sports and the attention to disabled and elderly are also in action. So the security and of public order, with all, I am proud of Táchira has been able to show their. So in 2014, Táchira was the epicenter of uprisings of Guarimbas. So we started to be ready for any attacks. So then we are in perfect unity with the civilian and military forces, and so we defeated the imperial strategy in that border, and so then we continue preparing, and then we demonstrated that we were not caught. We were not caught by surprise because we are prepared, and thanks to that unity, because besides this civic military police fusion, we advanced in the UPAS, in the popular units for peace, that popular intelligence that you have pointed out, collected by UPAS and articulated by this defense system, warned what was coming, and so we started acting before they acted. And so on July 28th, when they intended a civilian war, we defeated them. So we are an example. Just to end up, only in the last year, 82 murders, and we have only one. And so I am proud as a patriot, as Bolivarian, of this team, of this fusion of the military and civilian forces, in which we have guaranteed peace at Táchira. Whatever it happens and in any circumstance, Táchira will be alert. So we are here in our center of command for the battle, in a cave, the cave of Huaycaipuro. It is impressive, the images of how our people has this capacity, and we always have to recall a date of victory. On February 23, 2019, they intended to invade Venezuela with an alleged humanitarian aid. They hired criminals from the western side of the country, criminals of Cúcuta. They had the gondolas, the wanted, the Juan Guaidó was on a gondola, and Sebastián Piñera, always that nasty oligarchy from Santiago de Chile, and the then president of Colombia, paramilitary and drug dealer Iván Duque, and the former Paraguay's president, and as an special envoy of the United States, Vice President Mike Pence, and many other presidents issued a communique. The European Union issued a communique supporting the operation. The same film that they intended a few days ago. The same losers of always, supported by the oligarchy of Lima, the group of Lima, and all that historical garbage that have existed, and we have defeated. We will defeat them with the truth, with the historical reason, with the strength. On February 23rd, everything is ready. We are going to take the port of Puerto Cabello, port of Guaira, the airport of Valencia, and there we entered by Táchira, through Táchira, and Bolsonaro, they're leading the operations to invade Venezuela. It is the same movie, trying to attack Venezuela from Colombia, from Brazil. They couldn't do it, and they won't be able to do it. Venezuela will continue sovereign, free, and revolutionary. The Venezuela of Bolivar, the Venezuela of the 21st century. And what happened on February 23rd? Freddy was not a governor, but it was a protector of the state. The governorate of Táchira and the mayorships, they intended to begin in Táchira and then advance with criminals, burning down and undermining the population, and then go to Caracas through a highway. They counted on our defeat. They are always on the ring. Guaidó, Leopoldo López, Julio Borges, they are the same fascist garbages as always. They are the fifth column of the new colonialism, today fascism, trying to destroy it from inside Venezuela and deliver our natural resources to the U.S. imperialism. On February 23rd, unforgettable, 29, and there the Bolivarian Armed Forces was, the popular power was, and I remember that a group of traitors jumped and took our rifles. What a sadness. Because of the traitors. The traitors of all hours are used and then they are forgotten, abandoned, and humiliated. And then we saw a group of traitors who abandoned their commitment, and they were then begging on the streets. And then they ended up also in prisons of the United States, humiliated, abused, and we don't know their fate, full of misery. The worst misery is not the physical one, but the worst misery is the moral one. Not the thing that they could no longer dream quietly, because they all lost their families, their uniforms, due to an adventure of treason. The oligarchy promised them the whole world, and then they used them and abandoned them afterwards. And so, do you remember those who went to the Altamira Square? The history is repeated again in these cases, but the military civic police unity imposes, because the Venezuelan people shout a single slogan: loyal always, traitors never. And so we triumphed. Neither airports nor borders. Venezuela triumphed at peace, abided by the Constitution, and so we followed our track. They tried to kill me, to assassinate me several times, and so God protects me. At the hands of God and the Holy Saints and Holy Trinidad. So so the history continues. They tried the Gideon. We denounced them. Jorge Rodriguez denounced them. We've provided location, the names, camps. And so precisely Ivan Duque was president, and he mounted the camps of the Alta Guajira alongside some drug smugglers. And so there he mounted and ordered the invasion by Macuto, which was supposed to end with the taking of the Miraflores Palace. And what happened on May 23? The victory of the Venezuelan Revolution. God is with us always. So I congratulate you, Freddy, and the whole team. And here is the head of networks, Táchira at Peace. Táchira is a good model of study of how has been established, as Táchira used to be the most violent state of the country, and today Táchira is one of the most tranquil and peaceful states. In Táchira we see prosperity and laughter of its people. So let's study that project of Táchira. And so the unity of the military and civilian forces till ever onward to victory. And so raining is coming. There's no any leaks here in the camp, here in the secret camp, in the bunker in the Maduro bunker. So let's go live to Valencia, Valencia of the people, Valencia and the Mercury operation, which is going to explain by itself precisely from the experience of on February 23, 2019. It was the reaction of action and reaction to defeat the enemy, the imperialist enemy, if it dares to attack us, to attack us. And so let's give the floor to General Commander of Carabobo and Martinez Pinto, head of medias of the militias, and lawyer Jesus Paris Lara, and Secretary of Government and the whole team of the state of Carabobo to explain to us the Operation Mercury. Long live Chavez, my commander-in-chief. Effectively, within the framework of the 19th anniversary of the Bolivarian Armed Forces, in perfect military and civic unity, we are exercising the defense communal. We are conducting the defense communal exercise on July 26 at the International Airport Arturo Michelene. Commander-in-Chief, it is explained by itself how implementing the military Bolivarian doctrine, the operational strategic concept, we are conducting the strategic operation Mercury to participate in establishing a defense with 5 rings, establishing blockade points in the strategic dimensions to get close to the centers of powers and to the special areas. In these 5 rings of contentions are made up of the military forces. In its first and second rings are made up of the security port units. Afterwards, the military in charge of the security of the airport, and the 4th ring made up of the rapid reaction units, as you can observe in the videos. 5th ring with the operations of the Carabobo operations, and the 6th ring is made up of the other military units, Commander-in-Chief, and they're in the perfect military civic police unity. The people organized with its committees, integrated by the non-armed fight and the intelligence organizations. So they prepared and conduct the armed fight for conducting Mercury operation, not to allow with the fake humanitarian flag, humanitarian aid flag. A foreign force occupies this territory, so it is there how all forces and means of this territory are united for the comprehensive defense, to conduct the defense air exercise with all our Bolivarian armed forces. Independent territory in which the republic was born by the hands of Simón Bolívar. So, excellent. We have to continue improving all systems. There is something fundamental that we have to improve, and the General-in-Chief Padrino Lopez have insisted a lot on his latest statements, and I have heard in your meetings, in your permanent meetings, to all military and popular personnel, we have to adjust to the new forms. Lately, the criminals leading by Netanyahu attacked Lebanon. I have a report, for example, that I am going to deliver to General Padrino, the first report made by the Council of Cybersecurity about the reasons of the attack to radios, on radios, or walkie-talkies, pagers, cell phones of a specific brand that they have been sowing for years, and they attacked civilians. It is said to be an attack using a component of the apparatus with an explosive, and using the satellites, in this case of Elon Musk. So we've got a lot of intelligence information. So review every device and maximum cyber security. So the other element of the component is the Battle Trump anti-drone, in which we are advancing. I am very glad to meet some captains who have studied all techniques anti-drones, and we are advancing in the capacities of drones for national defense. So we have to have anti-drone defense in all airports, hospitals. It is paramount, and so equally it is necessary to restructure, to do some adjustments. So it is necessary, and you've got the lead in this, General Padrino. We have to restructure the processes of intelligence and counterintelligence, military, strategic, counterintelligence and intelligence of the Venezuelan state, to adjust ourselves to the new context in the 21st century, and particularly the circumstances of Venezuela. We have already taken greater steps. If we didn't count on the intelligence we have, we wouldn't be able to triumph. But it is necessary to continue improving. So we have the people. And when I refer to the people, that is that we have the people here and beyond. A good understander, good words. It is a very important element I wanted to point out for the concept of guidance, of adjustment of the new means of war. We have to study the aggressions suffered by the peoples of Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and the lately aggressions on Russia, on the people of Russia, which is really important, and the recent genocidal aggressions on the Gazan people, and the full genocide underway on the Lebanese people. So let's study that for constructing a self-defense country. So we have to prepare well to deserve the victory. If you want peace, be ready to defend it. And someone said, if you want peace, be ready for war. The two exceptions are in force today. So I really appreciate you to show the country, General Cardinal Dal, keep on alert permanently. And so I greet all the military, popular, civilian forces, and we stayed in unity, because only united we will win. God bless you. And so now let's go to the state Anzoátegui. There we have the perimeter defense comprehensive system of the petrochemical complex, and General Jose Antonio Anzoátegui. And there, let's give the floor to Major General Commander Pérez La Rosa. Major General Omar Enriquez Pérez La Rosa, and accompanied by the Mayor State, we are united here in the petrochemical complex to conduct the military exercise on the anniversary of the Bolivarian Armed Forces, in which we will put into practice a permanent defense with the strategic operations according to the independence plans to secure and protect the functioning of this important installation of the Venezuelan state. This defense state comprises with 6 rings integrated, formed by the militias and the combatant forces corps, which, applying the tactical method and using the copper, titanium, bronze, among other strategies, to detect and block, neutralize the enemy, and to keep the functioning of the complex. My commander, we could see how a resistant unity by our Bolivarian Armed Forces blocks the entry of the complex, with the coordinated action with the combatant units and the militias to secure and safeguard the installation from any enemy or criminal group that intend to enter and sabotage the facility. We could see a comprehensive action by employing the aircrafts that have been flying to surveil and guarantee a rapid alert that allows to activate the defense system in view of any attack by the enemy, through a combination of forces by patrolling and military actions in special areas. In this safeguarding plan, it is important to highlight the use of the exploration systems by the airspace alongside the communal intelligence, which have as a mission to detect the rapprochement of possible spelling in the petrochemical bay. During the developing of this offensive operation, we applied the operational systems of the battlefield to secure and follow and monitor of this plan and protect this petrochemical facility. My commander, as a single as a single national Bolivarian Armed Forces, in conjunction with the military maritime corps, we have full surveillance to protect our influencing areas. And it is noteworthy the use of our artillery by the Bolivarian Armed Forces, which carried out rehearsals and actions against any attempt of the enemies, guaranteeing the protection of the petrochemical facility. Loyals always, traitors never. There, well, greetings. It is like this, and we have to establish generals, leaders of military. We have to establish permanent plans in the defense of the structure of public services, of the productive and economic sectors. Specifically, we have to increase the protecting plans of our power grid, of our national power grid. We cannot lower our guard, because these criminals want to damage the people, so they want to damage the power grid to affect the Venezuelan people's life. So we have to win this battle, and so the instructions are already given to the leaders, to General Jorge Marquez and the higher state here present, and to increase all means of protections of the electrical system and of our main targets of the country. And so now let's go live to Maracaibo. What a beautiful force of culture, music, of spirituality. How much blessings of our Holy Virgin La Chinita. So let's go live to Maracaibo. So, one of the mercenaries that we captured, where we found some plans to sabotage the bridge of the Orinoco. They, as you know, they attempted to sabotage the second bridge of Orinoco. So we are in front of fascism. So if we are in front of these fascists, so we have to counter this phenomenon. In the whole world, there's a pandemic coming from Europe and the United States, fascism, the neo-fascism and its similar expressions. And so they have infected of fascism countries as Argentina and Ecuador with Milei and Noboa, respectively. And so they have infected with Maria Corina Machado. There is a violent current full of criminality and hate. They don't care about their country, because it is no longer their country. Due to their ambitions, their hate, they are willing to retaliate. It is not a simple opposition. It is not a simple right. It is not only the cupmongers that we knew in 2002. They are fascists, they are criminals, and ahead of criminals, we raise our constitution. The Christ of wood, which is our constitution. Here it is, our weapon against fascism, neocolonialism, neo-fascism. And so we are going to go live to Zulia State there in Maracaibo. My Commander-in-Chief, I am Major General Henry David Rodriguez Martinez, Commander of number 11 Zulia. We are in the mediations of the bridge General en Jefe Rafael Urdaneta in the Maracaibo State, Zulia. Accompanied by the military, the militias, the Bolivarian militias, to initiate the commemorating exercises on the 19th anniversary of the operational command. And so it is being developing the strategic task Acero to counter the air attacks or the ongoing actions of the enemy to mitigate the combative capacities and to undermine the internal order. So from Zulia State, I ordered by the Brigade of Air Defense to activate the region to surveil and control the region. I ordered through Zulia State and by the Bolivarian Guard to activate and install the blocking points at the western and eastern regions, because we know that the enemy has the capacity to attack by air, by means of hunter planes, drones, and so that's why I ordered the deployment of defending the air, which will be secured on this whole area on the bridge of Zulia State. I ordered through the commander of Garcos Maracaibo, members of the group of so to control the maritime area to detect suspicious ships on the Lake of Maracaibo with the support of the popular power and being present in the area. Air base, I ordered the immediate deployment of the aircrafts K-8WW in coordination with the defensive brigade with the mission of establishing an air strategy to counter the any air attack from the south, from the command of the number 11 Zulia. I ordered to make the completion of units safeguarding the weapons, which is a main target for the security of the state. My Commander-in-Chief, I share with you that the programmed exercises have been completed, and be aware that in the Zulia state we are the sons and daughters of Bolivar to make this land independent and guarantee peace. Long live Chavez, the homeland continues. We will ever onward to victory. Some moral, greatest, the commitment, the professional capacity. I am very happy and proud as a commander-in-chief of the military forces that Venezuela has. Major General Rodriguez Martinez, my greetings, my fraternal greetings to all military personnel and to the whole popular personnel of this comprehensive defensive operation of Zulia in Venezuela. Here it's raining cats and dogs, and so I feel very proud for the moral capacity, human capacity, professional capacity. The state advanced when we had a united army, and the homeland advanced till Ayacucho, and so let's get ready for celebrating the great victory of Ayacucho. Till that place, it arrived the men and women of an army led by Bolivar and Sucre. What a beautiful history, and we are living it again because as we read the beautiful stories of our past, watching movies, we would like to live those stories, and we are living a great story, defending our land before the declining empire. They intend to threaten us, to undermine us, but they don't know us. Some clowns appeared at Florida with the help of the U.S. government, threatening that they are coming to Venezuela to invade and kill, to drop on bombs. But we are going to expect them with rifles and with... Don't mess with Venezuela. Venezuela cannot be threatened by anyone. Heaven speaks truthful words, and here are some guidance that I have been studying. General Padrino, other generals and leaders. First place, Padrino, we have to accelerate the transformation and restructuration of the armed forces with the Ayacucho plan 2025-2031, the 7+ plan. We have to deepen the military revolution in Venezuela. It is time to go to pave the way for the revolution for transforming the military in Venezuela. So it is vital to expand the capacity of the military industry. Our military industry, we are not to depend on anyone. We have the scientific council. I want a meeting with the scientific council to advancing our own plan of maintaining our military equipment, repairing our military equipment, and the creation of our own devices, of our own equipment, not to depend on anyone. That's one of the most fundamental elements. We have big allies, cutting-edge technology, but we almost guarantee our own effort. So let's do the same miracle in the military industry. I dream of a powerful military industry using the cutting-edge technology, and we have the conditions because we have greater scientists, innovators, and so it is. In third place, it is necessary to increase the participation of the people through the Bolivarian militias And I think that we are in the most advanced time of popular participation in practice in the defense of the Venezuelan territory. We have to take further steps. You know what they are. Orders are given, just comply with them. So General-in-Chief Vladimir Padrino Lopez, we have to consolidate the logistic basis of the defensive system, and so we have spoke about that recently, and it is good that we have to review some good ideas from young military, and that concept I learned it from Commander Chavez in those years, 1994, 1995, 1996, in which we were touring the country, constructing the comprehensive logistics in the ground. That's why I seem very good the drones system that we are building, because we can count on these drones systems in the future to counter attacks. That's why it seems to me very important all the steps that we are taking. We have to keep them on secret as it should be. So we must renew the message that, as General Padrino is one of the founders of this whole defensive system, when he was very young in 2005, in 2010, when he was leading the Operational Strategic Command and then the Defense Ministry. And so you are one of the builders of this new system, of this new doctrine. So please, first of all, I am very happy and thrilled of the patriotism of the Bolivarian Armed Forces. Today, on the 19th anniversary of the Operational Strategic Command, we have to remember that in this, on these 19 years, President, you have been at the front of these forces, and we have to say too that we have continued with the task of the legacy of Commander Chavez, but you President, have been a bastion for us to consolidate with our own efforts what Bolivarian Armed Forces meant deployed on the grounds, and knowing that the nature of war changes permanently, and something and if something has the character of a chameleon, is the war, because the war justice adapts and it projects in the future ahead of the threats that are present against the people, the nation, the states, and the military too. And so we have to be crystal clear about it, and knowing too that we have to know that the military industry is the tool, the engine to boost all these ideas. We have a list of projects concentrated on here on the scientific committee, and so we are ready to send you a detailed report of our advancements. So I think that the Bolivarian Armed Forces have been an example not only in the defense of the territorial sovereignty, that presence of the Venezuelan soldier by air, by land, and that presence alongside the people, defending not only the territorial sovereignty but also the popular sovereignty, as we have defended as of the events on July 28th, incidents when by the time of the presidential elections, it is not only it is also the popular sovereignty, and that must be respected fully. And so the next thing is to comply with your instructions. There is a connection, there is a high level of connection of unity of discipline. As you have already commented, our generals and the professional troops, the alternate soldiers, and that says a lot about the Bolivarian Armed Forces. And so we are living the historical moment that it is up to us to build, and so we have been building it, but we have to improve in the permanent construction of peace. The peace is our main victory, and that peace is being built every day. And it requires a lot of effort, bigger than to wage a war. It is not an easy task. It is a task of a lot of sacrifice, of a lot of projection towards the future, a lot of awareness of the role that the Bolivarian forces are playing for avoiding that any enemy, any imperialism come here. And so that's why we are preparing every day for these people, our people, know and trust the Bolivarian forces, armed forces, because we have the men and women of the people prepared in the military to face any threat at all costs. And so you count on your Bolivarian forces, and you are our commander-in-chief, guiding us permanently. So we are loyal to you. We are, because you've got we admire you for your leader skills, and so that's why, my commander-in-chief, I am always at your order. And so we reiterate our loyalty. Count on our Bolivarian Armed Forces, loyal always, traitors never. We will win. Thank you very much, General-in-Chief Vladimir Padrino Lopez, and extend all these guidances systematically for this great military corps, this great power of our homeland, continue to developing. So if the homeland counts on the military power, the homeland will continue towards greatness. So when they destroyed the Liberator Army, they took the south of the original project. And so we have spent decades of misery by the oligarchies. When the ideal of Zamora was betrayed, when he was assassinated in San Carlos, once again oligarchies with their surnames and supporters, they smashed our people for a century. When Cipriano Castro was betrayed, defender of our sovereignty, there have been decades passed by, and they delivered the resources of oil, and we were turned into U.S. manufacturer. So when Isaías Medina Garita was defeated, there was there was undermined the project of the homeland, because the 1960s plan was projected by that big general, great man of the homeland, when they betrayed the ideal of January 23, 1958, when they chased Hugo Trejo and they assassinated the leaders. Then there was a massacre afterwards. They were tortured in the operational theaters. They wanted to become our military forces and use them for torture, and they were called hunters as they hunted our people. And then till it came the light of a brilliant generation led by Hugo Chavez, who raised the ideal of Bolivar, and with Chavez the original project arrived, and we swore in absolute loyalty to the original project led by Chavez. So we assured the evil of treason has ended, and so there's going to be a homeland and revolution, and it has been like this. We have been building this project in a perfect unity, and it will continue to be in the years to come. And so it has been amazing, beautiful, the journey we have experienced. So what is the near future will be splendorous, of peace, of security, of unity, harmony, ahead to the big target of homeland prosperity and joy of the Venezuelan people. Long live the Venezuelan Bolivarian Armed Forces. Long live Chavez. Loyalty always, traitors never. Ever and war to victory. We will win. Congratulations on this 19th anniversary.
Listening to the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, at the 19th anniversary of the National Armed Forces Strategic Command. Maduro praised the capacity of the national body and also highlighted that in the face of the current challenges, they have been able to come out victorious on account of under diligent efforts to maintain a close read of reality. We'll continue to bring you more updates on all major topics around the world. Stay tuned with teleSUR English.